Because we're going live to Perth, the WA Premier Roger Cook making an announcement expecting to hear him water down the Aboriginal cultural heritage laws that have been causing controversy.
Unnecessary burdens on everyday Western Australian property owners. As Premier, I understand that the legislation has unintentionally caused stress, confusion and division in the community. And for that, I'm sorry. The original intent of the legislation changes in 2021 was to prevent another Juukan Gorge tragedy, and my government will deliver on that commitment. But our response to Juukan Gorge was wrong. We got the balance wrong, and what we did hasn't worked. It is crucial that we manage Aboriginal cultural heritage in a common sense manner so that we can move forward together as a community, so that we can restore confidence in our cultural heritage systems, strike the right balance, and provide the community with a simple and effective system. One that ensures all landowners are equal and all have one simple obligation: to protect the heritage of our state. Since I became Premier, we formed an implementation group to monitor, report and address any issues that arise and help provide options for improvements. As I said, this is a government that listens, a government that listens to everyone in the community. That is why, based on community feedback and following serious consideration, I and the government have made the decision to overturn the Aboriginal Cultural Heritage Act 2021. We will restore the original Act from 1972 with some simple and effective amendments. The decision has not been taken lightly. It has been made based upon the best legal advice and after detailed discussion and an analysis of the many options, including making changes to the 2021 Act. But by reverting to the original 50-year-old legislation, we can reset, end all the confusion, and importantly, strike the right balance. We can ensure Aboriginal cultural heritage is valued and protected. And with simple amendments, we can deliver a common sense approach and prevent another incident like Juukan Gorge. Importantly, all WA property owners can continue to operate and manage their property just like they have for the past 50 years, without any fear of unknowingly disrupting cultural heritage sites. The exemptions which were introduced as part of the unworkable 2021 laws will no longer be required, as every landowner is equal. And the changes announced today will end the onerous burden that was placed on landowners. A key point I want to make is that there will be no requirement on everyday property owners to conduct their own heritage survey. The state government will start a long-term plan over the next decade to undertake heritage surveys of unsurveyed areas in high priority sections of the state and with the consent of landowners. The surveys will then be centrally held and published by government for the benefit of the state. Areas where development is imminent will be prioritised, and the cost recovery model introduced for proponents who need to submit a management plan to the Aboriginal Cultural Heritage Council will also be replaced. In its place will be a fairer, simpler model which will be established with industry in the coming weeks. The concept of local Aboriginal Cultural Heritage Services, or LARCs, will not continue. Over the coming months, we will transition away from the LARCs model and instead provide support to existing relevant native title groups to improve their capacity to work with government and industry. The important work of the implementation group that was set up in June will continue to ensure that we can transition back to the modified 1972 laws in a seamless way. Even though I've only been in the job of Premier for 8 weeks, I've been involved in public life for long enough to know how important it is to make a decision. And any decision involves criticism. That's the nature of the job. Today's announcement is about listening to the people of Western Australia. It's about carefully considering the circumstances in front of us. The Juukan Gorge tragedy was a global embarrassment for Australia. Something needed to be done. No one can argue with that. But our legislative response was wrong. I want to thank everyone across the community for their feedback and particularly acknowledge some of the key groups impacted for their advice and the discussions that we have had in recent days. This feedback has been important, and importantly, my government has listened. And what is required now is action and leadership. As Premier, I will always lead a government that listens and governs in the interests of all Western Australians. We are here to help and to deliver responsible government. We have a positive way forward. A way forward that preserves and values the oldest known living culture in the world and ensures Western Australians can continue to live their lives and reach their full potential.